Can you see it? The material being displayed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we are supposed to deliberate on what are known as random processes. They deal with obviously random signals. Now, all the signals that you have come across so long in your different subjects, they are all known as deterministic signals. Why? Because if you just consider the instantaneous values of those signals, for every such signal, the value at every instant is a certain value. So there was nothing uncertain or unambiguous about the value that this signal should take on at every instant of time. Contrary to that, we have a type of signal that is known as random signal. In the case of this random signal, if you concentrate on the values assumed by a random signal at every instant of time, so at every instant of time, the value that this random signal will assume is uncertain. So at every instant of time, the random signal will take on one of several possible values. So there is always an element of chance associated with the instantaneous values of these random signals. So it takes on any one value with a certain probability. There is nothing certain. So that type of signal is a random signal. In case of the deterministic signals, we have already also seen that they can be described by a small number of parameters, many of them. And many of them, they had well laid down expressions. As for example, the step signal is completely determined by the height of discontinuity and the instant of jump discontinuity. A sine wave is completely specified by its amplitude, its frequency, and its phase angle with respect to a reference, etc. Such is not the case for random signal. There is, in some cases, a sort of deterministic structure, but not all the parameters are certain. So that is a random signal. Now, often people think that random signal is something which is undesired. It is not desired. That is not the case. Suppose you measure the temperature, say, of this city over a certain day. So you get a function of time, the temperature as a function of time. So that is a random signal because there will not be any deterministic structure for that signal. If you record the temperature next day, the record will be something different. So that is why I say that the temperature, a record of the temperature throughout the day in a certain city, that is a random signal. So that is a useful signal. That information may be required for several purposes. So in case of a random signal, the random part of a signal is either an information bearing signal or it can be a noise. Noise means it is simply something that is undesired, that is not desired. It can be a mixture of both information and noise. That means some part of the random part of the signal can be useful. It may contain useful information, and the other part may be a contaminant, an undesired thing. Now, remember that I have already stated it, I think, in your, for those who attended my signals and systems class, that no signal in practice is a perfectly deterministic signal. You may say that, well, sir, we have in the laboratory observed a rectangular pulse train on the oscilloscope screen, the perfect rectangular pulse train. We have observed a sine wave. So why do you say that there can't be any deterministic signal, purely deterministic signal? So I stick to my comment because every deterministic signal that you try to generate will be invariably contaminated due to the random fluctuation which manifests itself in the form of noise, either intrinsically generated, that means generated internally to a device or a circuit or a sample, I mean a component, or it can also be picked up from the vicinity, any source in the vicinity. And why you are not able to see that is that in most of the cases, this contaminating random signal, that strength is very small compared to the strength of the deterministic signal. That's why it's not possible. But when you are dealing with deterministic signals that have very low values, then these random contaminants, they may be of comparable size, comparable strength rather. So under that condition, you have to take into account that fact. Take the case of a resistor. You know that intrinsically within a resistor, due to random Brownian motion of the electrons, a voltage develop across the resistor. Even if when it is not excited from some external source, just it is lying in an isolated condition. Under that condition also, there will be a random signal, random voltage developing across the resistor due to thermal motion, random Brownian motion of the electrons. Ordinarily, this voltage, its strength is very, very low. So by ordinary voltmeter or ordinary oscilloscope, if you want to measure it, if you just connect the two ends of the isolated resistor to the channel of the oscilloscope, so there you may not be able to see the signal because the signal strength is very low. If you hypothetically, if you have a very sensitive oscilloscope, very sensitive, all right, very with a high resolution, highest possible resolution, then you could be able to see this random signal. So that is the point. In your course on measurement, why are we studying this random signal? There are several motivations. One is the measurement of statistical properties of random signal. Why are we interested in measurement of statistical properties of random signal? Because I have told you that in many cases, the random signal is a useful signal. It contains useful information, information that we desire. Then you have to measure the properties of this random signal. Random signals can also act as test signals in order to characterize a particular linear time invariant system, LTI system or LTI circuit, etc. That means with this random signal as a test signal, we may be able to identify an unknown system. What does identification of an unknown system mean? Obtaining the impulse response of this unknown system, or obtaining the frequency response, or obtaining the transfer function, or obtaining the differential equation representation of this system. Third motivation is, in most of the cases, you will find that the information bearing signal, it is corrupted by random noise. So in that case, the recovery of the useful signal from this contaminated environment, that is required. So in order to develop tools for this recovery, an understanding of the random signal is necessary. All right. So these are the motivations. Now, just as an example of random signal, I have cited a few examples. One is, if you have an AM radio set, amplitude modulated radio set with amplitude modulation facility. That AM radio set, if you tune it away from a station and if the volume is sufficiently high, it generates an audible noise. So that noise, if it is converted into an electrical signal and plotted, you will see that it's a random signal. So that is one example. Second example can be that if you measure the fluctuation of the supply voltage in any building in a particular city, that fluctuation about the rated voltage, that will be a random signal, because you can never say with certainty what will be the fluctuating component at any instant of time. If you measure it for 24 hours today, in the next 24 hours, if you compare the values, the fluctuation, say at 12 noon, 12 noon today and 12 noon tomorrow, you will see that they will be different. Acoustic pressure generated by a rocket exhaust. So that is also an example of a random signal. Now, what is the problem with these random signals? Problem is that suppose you have a random signal x1t, which is generated by an amplifier. Don't think that amplifiers are used as generators of random signals. But like any other device, amplifiers are also sources of random signals. So say this signal x1t is the noise produced by an amplifier. So suppose we obtain the response of this signal x1t, response of a system which is connected after the amplifier when excited by this signal x1t. Let that response be recorded as yt. But this knowledge is not very useful in an isolated manner. Why? Because if you have an identical amplifier, another identical amplifier, I'm talking about another identical amplifier operating under identical condition, then that would not produce the same random signal x1t, but something else, some other pattern of random signal x2t. Not only that, if you consider a single amplifier, say it generates a random signal x1t over a certain duration today. For the same duration, if you measure it at some other point of time, for the same duration, it will not repeat the generation of x1t. It will be something else. That's because x1t is a random signal. So you cannot transfer your knowledge. You have obtained yt, but this knowledge cannot be transferred to other cases, to other situations. All right. Therefore, the solution is that do not consider individual random signals, but analyze the process that produces the signals. What does analysis of the process mean? We'll come to that later. First, you write down these things. This figure showing a typical random signal, you can well understand that there is no definite pattern, there is no deterministic structure. So you can draw it as you like. I have talked about the audible signal generated by an AM radio set being converted into an electrical signal and plotted using a plotter or displayed on the oscilloscope screen. So how would you convert an audio signal into an electrical signal? You have studied that using microphone.
Well done, sir. Done, sir. স্যার একটু উপরে যাবেন, ডায়াগ্রামটা জাস্ট। হ্যাঁ স্যার, হয়ে গেছে।
Sorry. By mistake, I have sent you 2 links, but what I want to mention is that the link that I sent you yesterday, in the same mail, that attachment is there. The figure which I committed to send to you regarding the Gaussian distribution, jointly Gaussian distribution.
Yes, sir. We received that.
We have the word
Okay,
file, sir.
okay.
You received that.
So you have written it.
Yes, sir. Done.
Now, to introduce the concept of random process, let me cite one example. Listen carefully. Suppose you are interested in measuring the temperature, in studying rather, the temperature of a city at 6 a.m., say in a winter season. So you measure the temperature at 6 a.m. on the first day. On the second day, you measure the temperature at 6 a.m. On third day, you measure the temperature at 6 a.m. In this way, you proceed up to say 1 month, 30 days. So these values, obviously, they would differ. The temperature on day 1 at 6 a.m. will be different from that on day 2 at 6 a.m., etc. So because they differ, they don't differ in a deterministic manner. Rather, they differ in a random manner. So we may say that the temperature of the city at 6 a.m. over a particular month, those temperature values are the values assumed by a random variable, capital X. All right. Now, suppose you decide that you will do the same thing for the temperature at 10 a.m. So you go on measuring temperature at 10 a.m. on first day, 10 a.m. on second day, 10 a.m. on third day. So all these values of temperature at 10 a.m. over these 30 days, they will also have different values. And because the values, they won't be determined, they won't be predicted. Therefore, these are the values assumed by another random variable. Repeat the experiment for 12 noon. You will get another random variable which assumes the values temperature at 12 noon on first day, temperature at 12 noon on second day, temperature at 12 noon on third day, like that. So in this way, if you repeat this experiment for different points of time over a complete day, you will get a collection of random variables, isn't it? A collection of random variables. Say, what do you do with these random variables? Corresponding to each such random variables, you have its probability density function. Or if you think it's discrete, because first day, second day, third day, these are discrete. And time also over a particular day, it will be discrete in general. 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, 2 p.m., like that. So these random variables associated with them, they will have a probability mass function, a cumulative distribution function. Therefore, they will have a certain expectation, mean square value, standard deviation, variance, etc. So what you can do, if you record it for 30 days, you can try to predict what will be the temperature at 6 a.m. on the 31st day or on the 32nd day. How will you do that? Recall that the expectation is the best predictor of a random variable. So you may try to predict. It will differ. The predicted value will differ from the actual, but that is the best prediction that you will have. Anyway, so you have here a collection of random variables, several random variables. So these random variables taken together, they are said to constitute a random process. You understand? If I just refer to this figure, just see here, xi represents the day number. So xi1 is the day number 1. There, say n0 is 6 a.m. N0, the time instant of time, that is a 6 a.m. So x1 N0 is the temperature at 6 a.m. on day number 1. X2 N0 is the temperature at 6 a.m. on day number 2. These are the values assumed. This is the value assumed by the temperature at 6 a.m. on day number 1. This is the value assumed x2 N0 day number 2 at 6 a.m. In this way, this is the ith number of ith day. 6 a.m. ith day, the temperature on that day. So x1 N0, x2 N0, in this way, xi N0, all these values will be the values assumed by a random variable capital X N0, capital X within brackets N0. Similarly, at 10 a.m., you may consider that N1 is 10 a.m. So small x1 N1 is the temperature value at 10 a.m. on day number 1. Small x2 N1 is the temperature value at 10 a.m. on day number 2. In this way, temperature at 10 a.m. on day number I. So all these values will be the values assumed by another random variable, capital X within brackets N1. So in this way, if N2 represents 12 noon, you will have another random variable. If N3 represents 2 p.m., you will have another random variable. Or if you decide to take the measurements as close intervals, N0 may be 6 a.m., the next sample instant, this one. It may be at 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. That one may be at 9 a.m. and this one is 10 a.m. like that. So it's a collection of random variables. All right. So they are said to constitute a random process. Now consider x1n. What does it represent? It represents the temperatures at different instants of time on day number 1. So that is called a sample realization of the random process. Similarly, x to n, what does it represent? If you look along the n-axis, it represents the temperature value at, this one. Yes, x to n0, it represents the temperature value at different instants of time on day number 2. So that is another sample realization of the random process. It's called sample realization or sample function. Similarly, this is the xin, this is the ith sample realization or sample function of the random process. So this is simply what is known as random process. So if you measure the temperature not in wide gaps, but in very discrete instance, but closely spaced discrete instance, then we may say that we have a collection or ensemble, pronounced in French as ensemble, collection or constellation or ensemble of random variables, several random variables, ideally infinite number of random variables. So this collection, this ensemble, this is called a random process. If you think in the other way, say suppose every day you are recording the temperature in winter season, you are recording the temperature by some recorder throughout the day. Therefore, in day number 1, you will have such a plot of the temperature varying with time in day number 1. This axis represents the time instant, 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., 7:30, 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m., like that. In day number 2, you get this record of the temperature throughout the day. Day number 3, you have another record. In this way, on the ith number of day, you have another record. Now, suppose you freeze your attention to the instant T0. T0 can be 6 a.m., T0 can be 10 a.m., T0 can be anything else. Then you will find, if you look across this ensemble, across this collection, or across this constellation, you will find that these plots, these signals, x1t, x2t, x3t, xit, they are taking up values of x1 t0, x2 t0, x3 t0, x4 t0, like that, xi t0. So all these things, they are the values assumed by a random variable capital X1. Similarly, if you freeze your attention to t1, therefore, at instant t1, what are the values that these sample realizations will take on? x1 t1, x2 t1, x3 t1, x4 t1, in this way, here xi t1. All right. So these are the values assumed by another random variable. So these functions are now continuous time sample realizations or sample functions. Truly speaking, labeling it as a function is not correct, because you cannot, if this is the nature, you cannot express it by a mathematical expression. The relation between small x1 and t, it cannot be described by a mathematical expression. Here also it cannot be described by a mathematical expression. It's true also that in case of random process, you come across, I'll cite the examples, come across certain sample realizations which can be expressed with the help of mathematical expressions. All right, do you understand my point? So this collection, capital X1 T0, capital X T0, capital X T1, capital X T2, all these collections, they are said to constitute the random process. Or we may say that the collection of these sample realizations, the ensemble, that represents, the collection represents the random process. Do you understand?
Yes,
So
sir.
here what I have done, this is the time axis representing the time throughout the day. This is the value of the temperature. And these are the different days. Day number 1, this is day number 2, day number 3, day number 4, like that. This is mth day. When you write down whatever is written here, it will be clear to you, more clear to you. Write down. So every such sample realization, you must appreciate that this is a random signal. Another name for random process is stochastic process. So in case of random process, we may visualize the random, the sample realizations as the outcomes of a random experiment. So here, the outcome of a random experiment is a temporally varying signal. All right. It's a function of time, not in the truest sense. Anyway, it's a variable varying with time. So corresponding to that random variable x0, you will have its cumulative distribution function, probability density function, its expectation, its variance, etc. As if a random variable capital X, it's evolving with time. It's undergoing a change with time. Making measurement at discrete instance of time, you get what is known as a discrete time random process.
Done, sir.
So this is the plot. Charlie, Jolta to In this initial part on the discussion of random process, I am not in a hurry. Take time and write down. Later on, you will see that automatically it is proceeding very fast. There are mathematical expressions, not very complicated, very simple mathematical expressions. So that will come much later. When we study the statistical characteristics of the random process. Don't draw so many samples, just samples at N0, N1, N2, N3, that will do.
Yes, sir. Done. No, sir. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay, okay. It's all right. As I have mentioned, the sample realizations of a random process can also have a deterministic structure. We'll come to that. That means, say you have a random process whose sample realizations are DC, constant, a random variable that will take on different values for different sample realizations. But for every sample realization across the time axis, it will be a constant. Similarly, it can be a sine wave sample realization, whose either amplitude or frequency or phase may be a random variable.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hence, a random process is a collection of, in general, infinite number of random variables, taking into consideration the fact that we may record the temperature values even at very small intervals. Now suppose the temperature is recorded for a continuum of time over 24 hours. So you have this collection of functions of time or temporally varying values. So this collection is again a random process. Don't think that the earlier one, what I have stated, and this one, they are anything the conflicting is there. But simply suppose you have recorded the temperature throughout the day. Now you have say 30. I have considered that number 30 days. So you have 30 such records at your disposal. From that, if you freeze your attention to a particular instant t0 corresponding to 6 a.m., x1 60, x2 sorry x1 t0, x2 t0, x3 t0, x4 t0, in this way xi t0, they will be the values assumed by one random variable. Similarly, x1 t1, x2 t1, x3 t1, x4 t1, in this way up to xi t1, they will be the values assumed by another random variable, like that. I hope you understand what is meant by x1 t equal to x t xi 1. On the day xi 1, what is the temporal variation of the temperature? That is depicted by x1 t. So that's why it's equal to xt xi 1.
Done, sir.
Need not draw this, just for an example that here you have an instant t1. So those are the values assumed by a random variable x1, t1, x2, t1, x3, like that. You have some other instant t1 plus tau. Those are the values assumed by the random variable. Now, just a few important points to note about this random or stochastic process is that I have pointed out that random signal, it is considered a member of a collection or ensemble, which is known as random process, and that is characterized by a set of probability density functions. So for every random variable, there will be a particular probability density function. So there will be numerous such random variables. So a set of probability density functions will be there. Each member, that means the sample realizations, it is assumed to have resulted from a mechanism that is governed by a probability law. So the same probability law have generated these sample realizations. All right. Thus, these are the sample functions. Whatever I have said, if we freeze our attention on a particular instant t1, these values, etc., are the values assumed by a random variable xt1. Same figure, nothing, need not draw it once more. Similarly, x1, t2, they will be the values assumed by another random variable xt2, and so on and so forth. Therefore, a random process may be considered as a collection of infinite number of random variables. So in general, xt1, xt2, xt3, they will have different statistical properties, unless there is something special. All right. Write down this part. Same figure. Just 1 minute. Now, as examples, if I just refer back to the examples of random signal that I have cited, that of AM radio sets. So if you have several identical AM radio sets that are tuned away from a station in an identical manner, then the audible noises that they give out, those noises, they constitute the sample realizations of a random process. If you record the fluctuation of the supply voltage about the rated value in all the buildings of a city, then the fluctuation which is being recorded across the entire day, these fluctuation for building number 1, fluctuation for building number 2, that for building number 3, etc., they will constitute the sample realizations of a random process. Is that all right? So in this way, several such examples may be cited.
Yes, sir. Done. So last point. Yes, sir. Done.
Deterministic and non-deterministic random processes. So if the nature of the each sample realization is such that from a study of the past history of the sample realization, you can predict the future values of the sample realization, then we say that the random process has a deterministic structure. So in case of such deterministic form of random processes, the sample realizations, they can be represented by a mathematical expression. As for example, if the random process is described by this expression xt equal to a, where a is a random variable, then we also have a random process, but now with a deterministic structure. So every sample realization is a DC value. All right. But what will be the DC value? That is not known. What can be an example? Say you have several identical op amps. Now you know about the offset voltage of op amp, isn't it? It's a DC voltage. So you have several identical op amps that are being tested, that whose offset voltages are being measured. They are operating under identical conditions. Identical op amps operating under identical conditions, and their offset voltages are measured. So will all these op amps have the same offset voltage? It's not. So one op amp will have a certain offset voltage. Let me depict this one. Say for one, the offset voltage will be very, very small. For another, this will be the offset voltage. This is the horizontal axis is the time axis. For another op amp, some other offset voltage is there. All right, by this shown by this red line. So this is the time axis. So all these offset voltages, they are DC. But say if you pick up, you have tested 30 such op amps or 50 such op amps. If you take up another identical op amp, can you predict with certainty that the offset voltage of this 51st one will be so and so? You cannot say with certainty. Therefore, all these offset voltages, they constitute a random process. So the sample realizations are DC values. Although the sample realizations are DC values, in effect, they constitute the ensemble of a random process.
স্যার একটু যাবে উপরে যাবেন,
Mhm.
জাস্ট ওটা লিখতে হবে। হ্যাঁ এটাই স্যার। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Mm. After completing this part, this deterministic and non-deterministic random processes, I'll stop. Oh, just 1 minute. লেখাগুলো হয়ে গেছে এই xt equal to b sine omega t. B is a random variable. So each sample realization in that case will be a sine wave. All the sample realizations, they will have sine wave of same frequency. And their phase relation with a reference, they will be same, 0. But the amplitudes, there is uncertainty regarding the amplitudes. The amplitudes will be the values assumed by a random variable. Third example is an important example, randomly phased sinusoids. In this case of randomly phased sinusoids, the expression that can be used to represent the sample realizations, that expression is xt equal to a sine omega t plus theta. A and omega, these are constants. And theta, the phase difference between the sine wave and some reference that is a random variable. All right. Where can you come across such a situation? The name that I have given, obviously it represents randomly phased sinusoids. But where can you come across such a situation? Say you have several identical oscillators. So they are arranged in such a manner that the voltages, sine waves they generate, they have the same amplitude and same frequency. But they are not in phase synchronism. You understand? Their phases are not synchronized. As a consequence, the phase difference between sample realization number 1 and some reference, that is say theta 1, phase difference between sample realization number 2 and the same reference is theta 2, that between sample realization number 3 and the same reference is theta 3, like that. So theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, these are the values assumed by a random variable. Therefore, what will be the nature of the sample realizations? They are sine waves. All the sample realizations, they are sine wave with the same amplitude, with the same frequency, but their phases will be different with respect to the same reference. So this will be the case. So this is one of the sample realization. This is the second one. In this way, this is the ith one. Just see that the phase relation between the sine waves and the reference, that is different.
So done.
Non-deterministic structure, you have already, all these examples, earlier examples that we have seen, they had non-deterministic structure. Noise-like structure that wanders aimlessly. Here what is written, wanders aimlessly ad infinitum. That means up to infinity. So let's stop here today. Next day, I expect that I'll be able to move on to the statistical characterization of random processes. So we'll meet on Wednesday. If you have completed writing, please let me know.
So done. Right.
Yes, sir, done.
Okay. So if you have any questions, please.
No, sir, not right now.
Not now.
No. Thank you, sir.
Okay.